Welcome back to the channel. This is my 70mm TEGIWA exhaust for the FN2 CIVIC Type R, and this is my very first unboxing and I'm rather excited. Hopefully this knife will work. Now I'm going to try and do the install myself, which anybody that knows my lack of mechanical aptitude will be quite astonished by me trying this, because it's quite it'll be the most ambitious project yet. I'll just get rid of some of this packaging. Got it unboxed. As you can see, there's a mountain of packaging. It looks like it's pretty well made. This is obviously the tailpipe, the muffler, there's a resonator up there. Whether or not it's going to be a drama to install it. I mean, look at the weather I've got. Luckily I'm going to do it in the garage. There's the car over there. I'm thinking of putting it up on these ramps at the front and then jacking it up and putting stands under the rear. So whether or not that'll work, I'm not sure, but like I said, this is a very ambitious project for me. Usually oil changes, brake pads are about as far as I go. So a complete exhaust. But this is my Christmas present to myself, and yeah, it should be a bit of fun. Hopefully it won't be too much drama. Now I just have to pick all this junk up and get the car in here and make a start. Okay, I've had to, the front of the car is up on ramps, as you can see. I've had to go down and buy 5 pieces of these 5 offcuts, $10 each they charged me. I couldn't believe it, but I'm stuck. He knew I was stuck. I had to pay the money. I was going to get this done. So I'm jacking this up here. As you can see under here, I've got no light, so this is going to be a bit of a nightmare. You can see that there's a tow hook right there, so that's what I'm jacking it up on. I'm jacking it up with that on the end of that. I'm going to put some I've actually used, as you can see, some books to chop the wheels up to try and get the height, but this jack's just doesn't lift up high enough. Once I get up high enough that I'll be able to get underneath it, I'll be putting the jack stands underneath, one on each side. So let's do that now. Now I've jacked it up, as you can see, under the tow hook. I've got 2 blocks of wood underneath it. Just be careful, because the jack, as you jack, will pull that way, push forward. So you've got to have enough room to for the jack to move. There's enough room on each end on these bits of wood, bits of timber. Now I'm going to put something under these wheels, and then try it again. Okay, now I'm going to jack it. I've got some more timber underneath it, as you can see. Hopefully that's tilted forward. You can actually see what I'm doing here. Hopefully this will be high enough to get the jack stands under it. See how that jack's starting to creep forward. as you pump. So if you don't allow enough travel, she'll slip off the end and you'll have a disaster, which I'm trying to avert because I do have history of disasters. Right, I'm going to try and position these jack stands. I'll come back in a sec when I've put them under. Okay, the jack stands are in place. As you can see, that one there is actually on the rear suspension. I couldn't quite fit it under the chassis rail on this side. It wouldn't quite fit. It's going to be sturdy enough. I'm just going to lower the jack down slightly. This one here is perfect at its full height. I'll show you. Sorry about the jerky can. As you can see, the very last word in lighting, no expense has been spared. Now, if you can see that, there's the it's under there. It's a bit loose, so I'm just going to lower that down now, very gently, and then put the stupid screen goes. I'm going to have to do this with the right hand. I don't want that coming crashing down. So we're just going to very gently. Oh, tighten that up too much, I think. I might have to put you down for a sec. Here we go. Oh, that's on there now. Tighten that back up. Show you this. It's on the stands now, but it's going to put a little bit of tension on the jack just to hold it so that it's supported at 3 points. Just for a bit of extra safety. So next, I'm going to have to find some WD-40, which I should have looked for earlier, but of course I didn't plan anything, and squirt some of these bolts, these bolts that hold the exhaust on, because they're going to be very, very hard to undo, I should imagine. First one is just those three there. Probably do that one first, just to make it easier on myself. Let's get that WD-40 and give it all a squirt. Okay, all the bolts and the studs at the front on the catalytic converter have been sprayed. Now I'm not going to touch anything else tonight. I'm going to let that spray do its work. The first thing I'm going to try and undo is the 3 bolts on the catalytic converter, because they're rusted because of the heat. They're going to be the hard ones, and if I don't want to start pulling the rest of it off, if I can't get those off, or if I snap a stud off or something, the car won't be mobile, I won't be able to move it. So that's the plan for tomorrow. I'll probably come out early in the morning, give it another spray, leave it a good 12 18 hours or whatever for that spray to work its way into those bolts. That's always worked well in the past, but mind you, like I said, I've never done a full exhaust like this. I've changed a muffler, I've put a resonator on, but I've never changed the whole exhaust. So hopefully this thing's the right one, and hopefully it will fit. So until tomorrow. Good morning and welcome back to the channel. This is phase 2. Now I've already taken that pipe off there. I'll just show you. I've had to wipe my hands. I've covered in WD-40, which I've used to, I liberally sprayed on the bolts and on the rubbers, on the hangers. There's that right hand side one off, as you can see. climb under here. That's where the 3 bolts are. They've got captive bolts. Really easy to undo. Everything so far has been really easy. I'm not saying it's going to continue to be easy, but okay, so those 3 are done. There's the hanger, and all you do is spray some WD-40 inside it and then use a screwdriver to prise it off. It was just super easy. Now up the back here, this is the next one. This one just had the two bolts. This goes off the damn thing. Okay, it's got the 2 bolts, one there, one there. They've got the springs on them. Again, they've got captive bolts on the other side, so you don't have to hold anything on. It's just unscrewed from this side, super easy. There's another hanger there. That came. I prized that off with a screwdriver, super easy. The same here. There's another hanger there, as you can see. That one there. I've prized that off with a screwdriver after a liberal spray. And up this side, the last place, there's another one there. There's another hanger there, which once again came off super easy. And that one there. That one's now, this whole back section is now loose. So I'll remove this. Now I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to try and finagle this out. I don't want to get WD-40 on the camera, so I'll catch you in a sec. Well, that's that section out. That wasn't that hard. I had to finagle it a little bit to get it over the cross beam or whatever you call it at the back. But yeah, that's both parts out. This thing is, so far, I'm really impressed with the way it's designed. Everything's come off like a dream so far. So now for the difficult one, the one at the very front. So once again, I'll shut this off and I'll get that one out, and then I'll show you the result or not. Now the only drama I've got is of the 3 bolts that joins the pipe onto the catalytic converter. I've got 2 bolts loose, but the 3rd one that's right up the back, of course, I can't crack it. I can't get the ratchet. There isn't any room to move it. I don't have a 14mm long ring spanner. I don't have an impact ratchet or anything like that. So I'm going to slip down to the parts store and see what I can buy to get that bolt undone, because that's all that's holding me up now. Once that bolt comes undone, we're in business. So see you shortly. Well, there we have it. There's the old exhaust completely off. Like I said before, the last bolt, top bolt on the catalytic converter, I could not crack it. That's just that tight. So I've had to go down and I bought a 3/8 half-inch adapter, and I've used a long bar and a 40mm socket and managed to crack it. And as soon as I had that, it was easy. If I'd had an impact driver, probably, with a little ratchet, impact drill or whatever, probably would have got it off in 2 seconds. I haven't got one. Now I'm going to turn this off now, and I'm going to climb underneath and show you where it unbolted from and where the hangers are. Just bide with me for a sec. Okay, there's the hanger on this one, and these hangers are super easy to get off with. You just put a squirt of WD-40 down the guts of it, and then just lever it off with a normal flat blade screwdriver. It just came off, every one of them. Now, whether or not the new ones it'll go back on as easy, I don't know. Now that over there that's the flange on your that's the flange on the catalytic converter. Now that one on the top left is the bolt that I couldn't get undone. The other 2 were easy as, with just my little tiny socket set. Easy as, came off, but I just couldn't, because the pipe's in the way, you couldn't quite get the angle on it. So I ended up using, I'll show you, I'll put a list of the tools. I'll show you all the tools that I used and which one worked for which application, so you know exactly what you'll need before you start. I didn't. I have watched the video, but they did mention that it was a 14mm socket, but yeah, I just had to sort of work it out for myself. But you'll know which, because I'll list all the tools. So, time to get the new exhaust out. Now, some people might say, well, why take a perfectly good exhaust off and put a new one on it and spend all that money to make it more noisy? The main reason, to be honest, because it's shiny and I'm easily distracted by shiny objects. So, plus, you know, these cars really do scream at 8,500 revs or whatever it is, and you really, when you're heel and towing, when you're driving quickly on a mountain road, you really want to be able to hear the note of the engine when you rev it, because you can't. It's so quiet, the exhaust, that you can't quite hear the how far you're revving the engine. So that's my excuse anyway. Plus, now that I'm 65, I'm pretending I'm 19. So anyway, let's get this new exhaust. Okay, we've got the first front section on. I don't know if you can see that. That's the first hanger. That's what you put on first. Okay, now I'm gonna try and get under the car. I should have turned this off. No. Oh well, you get a first-hand view of what it's like. I just hope I don't get crushed like a pancake. Now, so that's, so you can turn that around. So there's the first hanger right there. There's the first. Wow, this is hard to see. Getting too close. There's the what you do is you take that off from the top, slip it onto here, and then when you put the flange gasket on here, you put that on afterwards. Slip these bolts, 3 bolts are only just done up finger tight there. As you can see, I'm just left it loose. They're just loose. Yeah, so that's the first section on. Looks like there's plenty of clearance, so let's go and get the back section on. Well, with a bit of struggle, I've managed to get it under. Now, if you look up there, you can see the pipe coming along the side. I've got that first hanger there, that one there. That's what's holding that up. This one here, I've got that. I'll push the hanger on here. You put it on here first, and then push it up onto the body. That one isn't on. There's another one just in here. That's one, and I've put that one on there just to hold it all up, because it's pretty heavy, this thing. I was struggling on my own, you know. Luckily, I'm built in heroic proportions. Some would say a fat boy, but I managed to do it anyway at 65. So with 2 people, the video I watched had 2 young guys, and they were, you know, if you got somebody to hold it up while you put it in position, you're cheering. Now, as you can see down there, there's the flange. So the next job is to get the flange gasket and a couple of bolts and try and get that connected. So, but at this point, it's looking pretty good. I'm actually having a lot of fun. Okay, this exhaust is installed. Just got to tighten up the bolts. Now what I did is I put that one on first, that one there, that one over here, the one at the very back, I put that one on. I left this one here hanging until I got the, you can see the there's the bolts on the flange there with the gasket in between. I haven't tightened that up yet. I haven't tightened the bolts up at the front. I wanted to get it all mounted and in position before I tightened it all up. So far it's been a dream to install, apart from that one stuck bolt. It seems to fit pretty well. The only thing is I've got 3 bolts left over, which I'm presuming is for the it goes on to the catalytic converter, but that's got 3 studs. I'm presuming that's if you snap those studs off. I mean, I can't imagine why you'd try bashing those out and putting bolts in. So that's all I'm going to do, is bolt it all up now. And yeah, a lot easier with 2 people obviously, but you know, you can do it on your own. So let's get it bolted up and get this car down and see what it sounds like. Okay, first start up and get them off, try and get it off these ramps. Well, wasn't a disaster. I'll just show you these ramps. Now, this car and my Falcon, every car I've had, you can't get the car up on the ramp because the front spoiler hits it. So I just got a guy to make up these 2 steel, just a bit of section with a lip on it, and it just sits on here, and you just put one on each side, and that gives you heaps of clearance, and you just yeah, just get to get it up on the ramps. I've got some up higher ramps here, a little bit higher. I've actually got a system where I use 6 ramps. I put two ramps together at the front, back to back, and then put drive the car up the first section, put the second set of the other 2 ramps under the back wheels, and then drive the whole thing on so you're completely off the ground. It works quite well. but I didn't want to do that this time because I didn't know how much clearance you'd need to get the exhaust on and off. So the one that, when I saw the guys doing it, they were using jack stands. So alrighty, I'm going to get cleaned up, fix this up, and we'll take it for a drive. Welcome back to the channel, viewers. Now this is just an update. This is the tools that I used to do the install yesterday. We've got our blocks of wood. I ended up having 5 blocks of wood, as you probably saw. 2 jack stands. We've got ourselves a jack, reasonably good quality jack. I've got that screwdriver is the one I use for levering off the rubbers off the hangers. These bolts, this one here is use 2 of those at the back. One end has got you need a 16mm ring spanner for that end there, and the other end's 14mm where you can use your ratchet for that. You need a 14mm ring spanner just to get in the tight spots, the cut places where the hangers come down. They're different to the standard exhaust. You want a standard handle ratchet with a 14mm socket. You also want for that really hard bolt at the back on the catalytic converter, the one at the top, you need a long bar to crack it, an extension that's a 3/8 to 1/2 inch drive extension, and then you just put this socket onto there and you can get in there and crack it pretty easily. Now the other thing you really need, if you're going to work on cars at all, you know, and I'm no expert, believe me, I'm probably the least mechanically minded person you'll ever meet, but get yourself a decent socket set, just a small one like this, just with essential bits and pieces. It's all there and it just makes it so much easier. Now the other thing was WD-40 or Inox is the spray I used. Just give it heaps of spray on those bolts, especially the ones that are on the catalytic converter. They're all rusted together. They're really hard to get off, and if you end up snapping those studs, I think that's why they give you those 3 extra bolts, which I didn't use, in case you snap those studs off and you've got to drill them out or whatever. I managed to get it all undone because I sprayed it once the night before, once again in the morning, and then when I came back from the surf I gave it another spray, and then I started at the back. So by the time I got to the very front, it was well and truly soaked in, and the first 2 came undone really easily. But like I think I said on the video, I had to actually go down and buy that reducer and that extension so I could get in there to get that last bolt undone. So that's about all the gear you really need. It was a pretty easy install. I did it on my own. I'd recommend this product. It fits beautifully. It's really well made. There's no rattles or clunks or bangs. It doesn't hang down. I've got a speed hump out right at the front of my house. The Falcon used to just touch there. That was stock standard, and this exhaust system manages to clear that, doesn't touch anywhere. So now I'm going to include a couple of driving clips I'm going to try and put the GoPro on the back of the car or whatever. They won't be full rev gear changes, because like I said, the clutch needs adjusting and it groinches. If you change gear at 8,000 revs, it doesn't go in happily at all. So I've got to get that adjusted or looked at. Otherwise I'm just sort of driving it relatively gently. So, you know, if you like this sort of content, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I know it's not the same usual surfing content or weight loss content or fitness content that I've been doing, or metal detecting, but just something different. I'm going to try and include a few maintenance sort of videos just to spice things up. Anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, catch you later. Now I'm just going to take it easy first a second. I'm not going to rev it right out because the clutch needs, that's the next job, is the clutch needs adjustment. So it's not too bad at 100 k's. I think I'll get used to it. It's a little bit louder than I was hoping, but can't complain about the fit and finish. It was a really easy install, so much easier than I expected. So I'm quite proud of myself for this one. I'll do some proper sound tests in another video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and hit the notification button, and yeah, see you on the next one.